So today I'm going to read you one of my favorite poems, and it's a poem really about, in a way, about the influence of history or civilization or ancestors on who we are right now, and how, in a way, even though they might have lived thousands of years ago, they're communicating with us. Just as in all of the poetry that I write, there's a sense that Mother Earth, who has been around for billions of years, is communicating with us when we really listen. So this is one of my favorite images, a set of images, because there are three really beautiful images. And as I say, one extraordinary poem and then two really brief poems before it. But if you look at this, so try and get this out of the sun, you can see that this was one of those times when I couldn't find a way to just use one image because there were so many good images, and I couldn't find a way to kind of intermingle them so that they worked as a collage or a mosaic of experience. And so I put them three in three very different ways, because of course they're very different shapes and very different images, and taken, I think, on very different days, although it's possible the bottom image and the circle were taken on the same day. But look at this, for instance, just look for a moment at this image. I think of it as a bookmark. And for years I read a lot. I tended to read the same books over and over again. And I don't read as much anymore, but I loved bookmarks. Today I mostly read the book of myself, but I absolutely loved bookmarks. And what is wonderful about this image, and in relation to nature, is just how layered the visual experience of nature is, and how there's meaning in each, whether it's the fog at the top or is that snow at the very end, and then so you've got the sky and the landscape at the back, and then you've got ice in different shades, and then you've got intermingling with water, and then earth and some snow in a really wriggly, wonderful, live kind of way. And of course, we saw something like this a couple of weeks ago, just the absolute beauty of how snow, relatively freshly fallen, not clumped all over, places itself. And here, just the way I did it with a wide angle lens. And so it makes the space almost holy, and as if the little bit of twig in the top center is in prayer or communion somehow with some wondrous experience around it, maybe a family around it. And how even these bits of random snow that have been dug up, probably because I shoveled the path, down below, are so beautiful when they're touched by the light and the shade. And then the bottom one, of course, I mean, you could really make a statement with any of these, but this is just wonderful. It's the end of a fog, and there may be some snow there at the end of the day as well, but the fog is lifting and going to lift, I think, into blue sky. And how wonderful the long horizontal is, just feeling like you're really entering it and moving through it and with it. So I'm going to read these brief poems and then read this poem that is one of my favorites, and I think related to a lot of the issues that we're wrestling with today. The top of my head lifted off when the white fog of morning broke into deep blue sky. Each season reveals endless worlds along the edges of the pond. In winter, it's snow, stems, ice, water, sand. I read but few books since I was a young man. Those I read over and over. Now, hunched over my own notepad and pen, I understand what is written must first be found deep within, hardly to be spoken, coming through me, wafted as if by wings, out of depths, slowly taking form, taking flight between two worlds. Sitting huddled in my chair, I capture in each breath a drama of moment. I am blessed this day by winter chill and winter clothes, by a cup of white tea, and by a monk writing to me from the highest peak of Stone Gate, 1700 years ago, here to me, on the edge of the waters of Spectacle Pond. Live in the truth. Each moment is precious, and you will be free. I love it. Very famous poet on Stone Mountain, 1700 years ago. And the message is the message of the book I wrote here, that live in the moment. Each moment is precious. Live in the truth. They're the same thing, the truth and the moment, when we're really present. And you will be free, the first domain of freedom. Each moment is yours.